Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the I Know a Guy podcast. On this episode, I go west. I take some of my equipment and head out to Wyoming. And I get to sit down with a good friend of mine, Randy Hunt, and my wife's grandfather, who will fly in from Knoxville, Tennessee, and meet us out there. His name is James Tate. We call him Papi. We get to a place called Lava Mountain Lodge, and we sit on the back deck, and we share stories. I learn a lot from these two individuals. And then we'll welcome a guest by the name of Taylor Kurtz onto the show. Taylor comes in. He's actually from Florida and moved out west looking for peace, tranquility, something different, just truly exploring our country. And he'll share his story and what he does. He's got a pack of 50-something dogs that he takes tourists around dog sledding in the wintertime near the Jackson Hole area. So a really, really cool story. It's an incredible trip. We travel about 2,300 miles over 7 days. And this episode is in the Du Bois, Wyoming area. And then the last episode is on the final night in South Dakota. So we'll have two podcasts. I hope you really enjoy them. They're really cool. We're just sitting around talking with beautiful views and enjoying God's country. So thank you for watching this episode of the I Know a Guy podcast. I Know a Guy podcast in Wyoming. James Tate, we're here because of you. 80th birthday last month. Big day, huh?
Absolutely. One of the greatest thrills of my life.
Because it brought you back to Wyoming, where it all started. They didn't all start here, but you've been here a lot, right?
On the 20th of August last month, I turned 80 years old. I didn't know if I'd ever be back here again. I've been out here 12 times before, and I love the place as much as any place I've ever been.
And we're back in your stomping ground. Randy?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here as a chaperone to help.
Been my pleasure to be a part of this expedition, if you will.
It is an expedition. Flying to Denver, right?
Yes, it was.
Basically, it's not a red eye, but kind of close to it. Everything gets delayed because of storms. And so we have a budget car rental. So we ain't land at the airport an hour later than we're supposed to, so 1 a.m.
Brutal.
Local time. Go to budget car rental. It's like Christmas Eve. There's 300 people waiting in line. There's no way we're going to get out of there. It's now 2 a.m. There's no way we're getting out of there before 6 a.m. So we get a hotel and then get on a rental and ride up here to Du Bois, Wyoming, where we're at what's this place called? Lava Mountain Lodge.
Right.
Beautiful place, isn't it?
It's
Gorgeous.
absolutely pretty.
Couldn't have picked a better place.
If I say so myself.
The final destination for the next couple of days, fantastic, Ben. Hats off.
Listen, thank you very much. I'll take credit for that. Look, I didn't plan on bringing the podcast equipment, but it came along somehow. It made it through security, and now we got to talk business. So, Papi, you're my wife's grandfather, which is why we call you Papi.
Right.
You're riding shotgun, Randy, in the car. You're my co-captain, so I'm calling you Captain.
That's it.
So, Papi and Captain. Papi, I want to ask you a question. How old were you when you first came out here?
I was 40 years old
40.
in 1983. I came out here with my brother and a couple of other guys from the neighborhood. And then after that, we came every chance we got.
And you flew out here?
No, we drove
Drove from where?
from home,
That's in East Tennessee?
1,700 miles one
Oh,
way.
my goodness. That's a long drive.
Yes, it was.
Is that 55 miles an hour back in 1983? Or
Somewhere thereabouts. Probably not as good as our old truck could do.
I didn't know if the car went faster or not, but it was a truck.
Is that
How
truck?
many of you were out here coming out to these trips?
Well, sometimes they'd be 4, sometimes 6, and a few times just 3 of us in one vehicle.
Did y'all rough it? Like you sleep in a hotel with nice accommodations?
No, we stayed in the Z-Bar Motel, Buffalo, Wyoming.
Very nice. Very nice. Let me ask you a question. Turned 80 this year. What would a 80-year-old Papi tell a 20-year-old James Tate?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. I'd tell them the first thing, to hold her head up high, live a good life, raise a good family, always serve the Lord.
I couldn't say it better myself. Keep it together, Papi.
We'll try to.
Well, it's a beautiful place out here, and it brings back a lot of memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably more than any place that I've ever been where I didn't live.
Yeah. Well, we got a long trip. This is the first night. We literally, so people understand, right? We get in here Friday at 2 a.m. We don't get to bed till Friday 3 a.m. local time, which is 5 a.m. back home. We're used to it, right? We're used to 5 o'clock being home. We've been up for, almost 24 hours straight. And then we get about 2.5, 3 hours sleep, and then we make a 7-hour drive over here to Du Bois. Captain, you held it together, man. You gnawed off a couple times for 2 seconds and then back up.
Well, thanks for allowing me to do that. That refreshed me so I could keep you on the right side of the road.
I'm working on it. There's beautiful views on the way out here.
What a trip. What a trip, Ben. This is a trip of a lifetime, actually. And I'm just so honored to be part of Papi's birthday extravaganza, if you will. This is the first time we've met on this trip.
Yeah.
And what a prince of a guy. You know?
Well, your daughter, Carolyn, my mother-in-law, she said, I want to do something special for him, and mentioned it last year. We kind of talked about it, and you mentioned you might want to go back, and it's like, well, might as well do it. So here we are.
Yeah.
And what's cool is we got a long way to go. We got 6 more days
Yes,
here.
we do.
We're going through Teton, the Teton National Park Forest. We're going through Yellowstone. We're going into Cody, Wyoming. We're going to come back into Yellowstone. Then we're going to go across over to, is it Bighorn Mountains? Is that what they call them?
The Bighorns is what you cross, which is the front range of the Rockies, and that's where the little town of Buffalo is down at the bottom, where we used to go.
And then we're going to finish up over near Deadwood, and then back down to Mount Rushmore and back down to Denver, Colorado.
We'll have like we have so far, a fine time.
Met a guy at the bar, Taylor.
Taylor?
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Interesting story. Hopefully he comes on here in a little bit. So let me ask you a question. You came out here, you hunted a lot. Did you ever run into a grizzly bear? Did you
No.
ever see? No?
Never seen a
Moose? Moose?
I've seen one wild moose, and I was fortunate to see it because there wasn't many of them stocked in the Bighorn Mountains up on the mountain behind Buffalo, Wyoming, coming west.
Very nice. Can I ask you both a question? This isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but if you guys work on this together. The plural of goose is what?
Geese.
Right?
Right?
Logic says the plural of moose is meese. Meese?
Moose is all right.
How do you go from goose to geese, but you can't go moose to meese?
Thank the English language for that.
There's a lot
That ain't gonna
of-
work, is it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of animals are that way. You can't change them much. And all I ever heard them call was a moose.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a meese, I never heard of it.
Okay. Y'all see the meeses down there? Here's,
Yeah, I'd like to backtrack just a little bit.
yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah,
may.
yeah.
Talking about Papi coming out here and hunting all these years, I've hunted some of the same areas over my lifetime, and that's what makes this trip extra special.
So you went up to Glacier?
I've been in Glacier National Park, sure. Can't hunt there, of course.
Right.
But I hunted out of Kalispell, Montana, and a little town called Shoto, Montana. Also Idaho, Chalice, Idaho,
Okay, you've hunted a lot.
and and down Colorado way, and then Wyoming way, Laramie, for mule deer.
Okay.
And so Papi and I have shared geographically some of the same areas for hunting, and have pursued the same game as well.
My first time out here.
Marvelous, isn't it?
Well, I was exhausted when I woke up this morning after 2.5, 3 hours. But once you start driving and you're just looking left and you're looking right and you're like, wow, it's just gorgeous. You've never seen it before. It's all new. And what I can appreciate about it that's different than what you get on the East Coast is a lot of it's undeveloped. It's just land. It's just as God made it, and it's there versus you get some places in the East Coast and you've got cabins and stuff all in the mountains. And this place, I can't wait to see what it looks like at night. I probably have never been in a place in my life that will have as little light pollution where I can actually see the stars. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wyoming always used to take the privilege of saying that we've got more wild game animals than we have people, around 500,000.
Wow.
And it's an entirely different experience. I've hunted in Colorado. I killed the only elk I ever killed down in Colorado near the Four Corners area. And I've hunted in Montana one time, but I never loved any of it like I do Wyoming.
It's beautiful. And the state's small. Population as far as is small.
Yes.
Not many, right?
A lot of square miles.
Yeah, a lot of square miles. So to set up the backdrop, we're sitting out here on the porch outside the restaurant, and you've got this just beautiful winding river, which I think they call
Wind River.
Wind River. Thank you. I should have added ing and called it Winding River, but it's Wind River, and it's gorgeous. And we're looking at horses down here grazing, and the mountain is behind you, and kind of cool. The first thing we asked the guy when we check in is, "Have you seen any grizzly bears?" And he goes, "Yes, I saw one last week on the ridge, literally 100 yards across the street." And he's got pictures of it. It's
He said
like,
he got 2 out there, and he said if you'll look for them as you go out, you'll probably see them. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
And we'll be up first thing in the morning. I got to give you guys props. So, you know, I'm your chaperone on this trip,
we
right?
understand that.
Your wife has given me strict instructions. Your daughter has given me strict instructions. And I thought that you guys would want to sleep in 8:39, 10 o'clock. Now, you both were up before me, called me, down here ready to go in the lobby.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I got to keep up.
It's all about the clock. Time is ticking. You have to enjoy every moment that you can. And when you're out here in the Great West, by golly, get up early and enjoy it.
There's nothing like it.
Well, for me, I grew up listening to country music, and Garth Brooks sings about, you know, the rodeo and all the different things, you know, like, I think Cheyenne, they both might sing Cheyenne. Actually, one's Beaches of Cheyenne, but I think it's George Strait that's talking about the rodeo in Cheyenne. And here we are, and the guys got cowboy hats on and the jeans, and everyone's got some kind of, I don't know what you call the knife, a hunting knife in the back pocket. And, you know, certainly and this place is real authentic, because I asked about Jackson Hole. I said, what do you think? We're going to run up in there. And he said, well, he goes, it's very touristy. He goes, a lot of nice people there, but they're sort of transplants, if you will. And he wasn't being offensive about it. He's just saying it's different. He goes, here, these are the locals. These are people born and raised here that have lived this life their entire lives. So
One thing they got for them there at Jackson Hole, that's the home of the National Elk Refuge. These hundreds, if not thousands, of elk come down them mountains in winter there, and they feed them. And they say it's a beautiful sight to see. I've never been there at all, much less seen that, but it's got a lot going for it.
where we're going tomorrow morning.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Hey, we're gonna make that trip happen. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Y'all had a lot of conversations on the way up here, talking about past trips and things you've done, and some stories you probably can't share.
That's what hunters do when they get together. You know, they're better liars than fishermen. To start with, you know, those horns grow
Every year.
And you know, it starts out as a puny little fork horn, and next thing you know, it's a stud of an 8-point overnight.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What's it feel like the day before the trip or the week leading up to the trip? You know you're going on a big hunt. You know you're going. You don't have this at home, right? If you're in Florida, you've got a 50-pound deer running through the woods. A little bit different out here, and you know you don't get to do it all the time, right? So you appreciate it. What's it like? You week before, month before, you excited?
You're just apprehensive. You're trying to get everything ready. When we first started coming out here, we didn't have that much money. We drive old trucks that we had. Lucky to get here and back with them, but we did, and it meant that much to us, and it still does.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's what is it? 65 degrees out here right now, but it feels like it's not even cold. Just the air is still. It's beautiful. It's
You know,
beautiful.
you spoke, Ben, about the 55-pound deer running through Florida.
Yeah,
You know, out here they're grossly larger than that.
we'll find out. I don't know. You've seen them.
But if you're fortunate enough
Okay.
to put down an elk, and I say that cautiously,
Okay.
and I'm sure Papi will agree, the work now begins. That is one tough, laborious job to quarter an elk and haul it out of the woods, out of the deep woods, because they're normally shot down in the valley or 2 valleys away from where your camp is.
Oh, okay.
Every time. You know, it just
So
seems-
he's not right there.
So he's
No,
not right there.
No, he's not in the pasture field.
Okay.
And no, you don't pull your truck up to him and load him in the truck. If you're fortunate enough to have pack mules, that's a plus. But you've still got to manhandle that meat. And an elk quarter is 250 pounds. Wow. You know. So
Can I tell you a story?
sure.
I don't hunt. that's not my interest, not because I'm against it. But I was in Florida, and a friend of mine's behind his house, and they killed some kind of 4-point, maybe a 6. It was a 4-point. And they said, hey, can you boys bring it out of the woods for us? I'm like, okay. So I grab the 2 legs in the back. My friend Audie grabs the 2 legs in the front, and we start trying to drag it, and we're getting thorns all on us and just thorns all over the deer, trying to pull it out of the woods and stuff. And they knew what they were doing. The dad set us up. The dad and the friend came out there and said, drop the deer, and they grabbed it by the horns and yanked it straight out of the woods. So thanks for that. Yeah. That one gets me into hunting, making fun of me. I know how to fish, though.
That happens, and it's not a big thing, but they're, like Randy said, an elk is a big animal. The one I killed, the only one I killed, was a yearling, a raghorn, but they estimated it to weigh 400 to 500 pounds. I just field dressed. A big one can get as high as 800 to 1,000.
Wow.
And you have to cut them up. There's no other way to get them out.
There was a gentleman here talking about when he was in East Tennessee. He's actually lives out here, been here for over 30 years, and actually owns a lot of the land that's behind the backdrop on. Well, none of the cameras are facing it, but it's behind you guys. Owns the land by the river, and didn't he talk about in East Tennessee? What was dead? A cow? Something about possums or something? He said there was a
dead cow that they's out hunting.
It was after a hunting trip they were driving through.
Turkey. No, they was out in the field turkey hunting and walked up on a dead cow. One of them said, "Just kick the hell out of it." So
and this guy didn't know what he was doing.
And he kicked it, and they 3 or 4 dead possums in there. They eat.
That's right.
Like that.
So the locals in Tennessee told him they had him on a hunt, and he hadn't hunted for it. And he didn't know what to expect. So they said kick the cow, knowing there were possums in there. The possums ran out. They shot it. They shot the possums and held them up and said, "We got dinner tonight."
Yeah.
Now that's East Tennessee for you. Was that Virginia? It was West Virginia.
Somewhere in that area.
I don't know if they're eating possums over here.
I never did eat a possum, but I've seen my dad do it. I've seen him catch them and put them in a pen or a smokehouse and feed them, and they feed them so long, a good feed, and they'll get that smell and that taste of what they've eat out of them. And then after you get them fixed like he wanted them, you kill them and eat them.
Teach their own. Teach their own. So what do you, when you think about being like this, we're in the middle of nowhere. We drove 100 miles and saw one gas station. I mean, I've never been a part of that. I'm never been much west of Houston and Dallas, Texas. To see so very little population here is just incredible. It's just like you feel like you're, like when you look where we're at here, there's nothing 20 miles north and there's nothing 20 miles south. I mean, you go 20 miles south, you see a town, but past that town, that's 50 miles. That's incredible to me. It's not a gas station around the corner. You break down, you got issues. And you have no signal. We have no signal here.
I wished I'd thought and got my phone. I had a hand on me, but took pictures of Muddy Gap service station.
I got video of it.
I forgot that.
That scared me a little bit.
The old boy, he's just nice, me as he could be.
He was nice, but so it was a service station. We've been driving 50 miles. It's in the middle of nowhere. We need gas, so gas is running $3.50 to $3.80 a gallon, but there it's $5.05 a gallon, and we need 5 to 7 gallons to get us through. And it's this sort of rundown place, and I definitely would not want to be there when the sun is setting. And there's nothing there. And here's what's crazy to me. And I may be sort of dramatic here, but 50 miles before this place and 50 miles after, I didn't see a house at all. So I'm wondering where these people are going home to.
Might have stayed there.
Might have. Yeah. And the wall in the bathroom, people had scribbled all kinds of nonsense all over the wall. I'm like, this little place?
I kind of felt at home there.
Did you? Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow and getting on the road.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
I'm excited about Taylor coming out here in a minute when he gets out from behind the bar.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'll go tell him to come out.
Okay.
Here.
All right. Well, whenever he's ready, just a few minutes. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He served us well.
He recommended the barbecue, the
brisket.
Brisket, yes, he did.
Oh, that was delicious.
It was good brisket. Oh, I can see the sun. See the sun setting back on the rock back there. So I guess that used to be a lava. They call it Lava Mountain because it's a volcano and whatnot. You know.
Sure.
I don't know. Just never been out here before, so I have a true appreciation for it. I'm actually working. I told my wife that I'm actually on a work trip right now. I'm scoping this out for the family.
Absolutely.
So when we come back, they go, oh, okay, that's nice. We'll go there.
I plan to have another meeting out here in the winter.
Yes.
Yes, with the spouse.
Yes.
And,
Enjoy that.
absolutely.
Well, it's beautiful
Man of the
out here.
hour.
Oh, he is the man of the hour. No, right here, Taylor. Taylor Kurtz. How are you, man?
Randy, I'm doing excellent. How are y'all?
Yeah, so this is really cool. So talking about a small world, right? It's like, where are you from? Florida. Oh, no kidding. Well, I grew up in the Tampa area, graduated from FSU, and like is now out here. You got to tell me, before we get into what you do, how does one go? You got something, Randy?
Yes, I do. Wait, we need to stop this. FSU?
Florida State. We were losers, though, when I was going to school. So, and I know you live in
Florida
Gainesville,
State?
huh?
It's all good. I'm not talking
You've
trash.
got me sitting here next to Florida State.
You're
It's all
separate.
love.
You're separated. It is all love. You're separated by two
Okay.
microphones. All right. So tell me something. Before you came out here, you've been out for how long now?
Just over a year, maybe 14, 15 months.
Okay. And before you were here, where were you?
I was in the suburbs of Tampa, Florida. And
How do you say I'm going from Tampa and I'm going to end up in Dubois? Is it plural or no?
You got to pronounce the S. We're stubborn folk out here. It
Du-
is French. It was a French senator out in Idaho that pronounced it Dubois. But you got to make sure you pronounce the S out here. You say Dubois out here, they're going to look at you like you're funny.
So Dubois.
Dubois, yep.
So I actually did some research before I came here and pulled up, like it was almost like you don't certain areas how you say all these words. There's one now. I'm gonna call you out here in a minute.
Okay.
I am, because earlier you told me about, I call them coyotes. You
Sure.
said they're not called coyotes out here. What do y'all call it?
I've heard people call them yotes. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, we call them coyotes down in Florida. So that's what I
Right.
used
He
to.
says he
Coyotes.
said out here it's coyotes.
Coyotes, yeah.
Okay.
Coyotes, sure.
Fist bump. You got me. You got me on that one. So you were there in Tampa. How do you get here? How's that happen?
You know, I was corporate. I was crunching numbers and Excel spreadsheets all day long for an insurance broker down in Tampa, Florida. And I probably would have just kept on doing that for years and years. But they honestly weren't paying me enough. And so I was kind of looking at it and seeing, well, what do I want to do? And I thought I could just go to a competitor. I could make another 30, 40K walking in the door, but I don't want to crunch numbers. I don't want to be chained to a desk. And I was 24 at the time, and I thought, I've never been out west. I'd never been out here. You know, Missouri or Texas is the furthest I'd been. And so I just started looking up jobs. I looked up all over the globe, you know, ranches, resorts, just any place that I could get my foot in the door, someplace I hadn't been. And I just wanted to change the pace. You know, I'd been living in Florida most of my life, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. I love Florida.
Yeah.
But I needed to leave the nest. I needed to go far. You know, I wanted
Yeah.
to figure things out about myself. So I was just asking all this, and it was like not a bad existentialism, but certainly just analyzing my life, critically thinking, what do I
Right.
want? Do I want to look back in 40 years from now and think about all the time I spent staring at a screen and crunching numbers and making money for people I don't care about, and for, you know, this money that I don't care about in industries that means nothing to me? Now, here I am. I've got my hands in the dirt. I'm loving life, and I mean, yeah, everything is close to me, whereas before it was far away, and that's what I wanted. That's
So-
why I came out here.
So I'm not correcting you, but you said you have your hands in dirt. You have your hands in fur.
That's right.
How many huskies do you have?
I've got a pack of 59 Alaskan Huskies.
so
59.
so here's something odd, right? We're driving down the road here. I don't know if it's 287 that comes in here or 26 or what it is.
Sure, 287.
Okay, so we're coming up 287, and I'm like, oh, look at that! It's a snow, Bob. What do you call them? Not bobsled. It's a snowmobile, like crossing, and I'm like, there's gonna be
Yep.
snow here soon. So you're doing that here in the mountains with dogs and packs and stuff.
Yeah, so our ranch is closer this way, closer to Jackson Hole and the airport. It's where more tourists are, and that's our deal. We
Right.
take out tours. That's what pays for the dog food and the vet bills and everything. But yeah, we get good snow here. I mean, up on the mountains, there are places you hop off your machine, your snowmobile, it's going to be over your head.
What?
You don't want to jump off. Over
Oh,
the pass
no.
right here, you're driving in your truck, and it's plowed clear above your truck windows. Now, we groom our trails. The ranch has a really nice 80-acre pasture out front. There's a river. It'll be frozen over. It's still
Right.
flowing underneath, though, in the winter.
Sure.
And a beautiful, if it's a clear day, beautiful view of the Tetons. So we're out there. We've got these groomed trails. I take a snowmobile out every morning, just about, groom it down, make it nice for the dogs. And yeah, we just run out there. So it's nice and packed for them. But there are certainly times where, you know, we go any weather. As long as it's not dangerous, we'll go out there. So it's been negative 40s, winds blowing, you know, snow to the point where I can't see my lead dogs or really my dogs at all. You know, it's clouding up the goggles. So I try and take the goggles off, and it's just hitting my eyes, pelting my eyes.
Wow.
So I can't see. So I just got to trust those dogs. I mean, they're smarter than me.
Sure.
I'll admit. Any day they're smarter.
What's that book? There's a book I grew up. I won't say reading because I don't read a lot of books. If you can't tell, however, we did read it in high school or maybe middle school. It was dogs. It was sledding.
There's Jack
Iron,
London's.
Iron.
Oh, Iron Will.
There you go, Iron
Will's
Will.
one, yep. And then
That's
Jack London's got some good.
It's a great
books, too.
book.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
a
yeah.
great book. It's really cool.
They got a film too. You know, if you're not so into reading, there's a movie about it.
Yeah, I think I've watched that. It's usually you read the book in the class and then you get to watch the movie. I'm like, just get to the movie. I'm going to say something about that. That's not my fault. I have attention deficit disorder at the highest order, and reading a book, my eyes get all blurry. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just reading words and let me understand what I'm reading because it's boring to me. Now, a movie I can get into. I'm kind of like, that's why we're here. I'm like a visual person. We're like on this. Can I say this freaking ranch? Like that's where we are right now in Wyoming. This is awesome.
Yeah, it certainly is
incredible.
awesome.
It is incredible.
And you're a cowboy, and we're with a cowboy.
I don't like to call myself a cowboy. I
Okay,
know
all
true
right,
cowboys,
all right.
and I don't want to put my name in that because they probably beat me up. You know,
Okay.
I'm a dog boy. I deal with dogs. I've worked with horses a little bit, but not in any really professional sense. You know, I've ridden. I can saddle, but I'm not a dog.
So you were in the corporate world.
Yeah, crunch
and
numbers.
How did you? And now you're here tending bar. When did you learn that skill?
Oh, so my first job, I turned 18 and I
And you
figured I
do
need
an
to do some work.
excellent job
Hey,
of
thank
it,
you.
by the way.
I appreciate you. Yeah, so I got my first job working at Outback Steakhouse down in the suburbs of Tampa and just dishwashing. I figured I turned 18, I better start making some money and, you know, get to this. I was starting out late, you know, but my buddy worked there and he got me a job dishwashing, so I worked there and I just worked my way up to go serving, bartending for a few years into college. Then I stopped doing that. I was thinking about being a pilot, so I started fueling at an airport.
He's a pilot.
I was driving around a 7,000-gallon jet fuel truck for Millionaire, the FBO, fueling planes, and that was awesome. Met a ton of different pilots. It was real cool. We actually did. May I tell a little?
Yeah, sure.
anecdote?
Tell
Sure.
it.
So we did a thing called hot pits. So this is in Tallahassee International Airport. We would shut down a full runway. We'd bring a fire truck there, and we'd have the fuel truck already loaded up and everything. So this runway wouldn't be used except for these F-18 pilots. These Hornets would come down, they'd roll up, they wouldn't even shut off their engines. Their engines would still be going. And I was always the guy who drug the hose out there. So I had this big, heavy hose. I'd drag it out there, and I'm looking up at the pilot in the cockpit. We're giving each other signals. There's this panel there that I hook it up to and all these little dials and things that I'm watching and flicking. And the whole time they're telling me, all right, Taylor, you got to be real careful when you're at this plane because you see this little line right here, just like a foot to my left, you know, not far at all. They say this little line here, if you cross that line, their engines are still on. It's going to suck you in.
Oh, no.
We're not getting you out. And not only that, but the government's probably going to want to sue your family because you've just destroyed millions and millions of dollars of machinery. So, yeah. And I think then I was making, what were they paying me? They were paying me something like, at that point, I think it was $16 an hour, but I started out at $12 an hour. I could have been making more at Walmart or Target or something, just, you know, doing that.
Sure.
But instead, no hazard pay. But it was a fun job, super cool experience.
Randy's got his pilot's license. He actually flies in his son. What's your son now? Lieutenant commander, or is he a?
Commander.
He's a commander.
P8s from the Navy.
Currently,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Commander in Jacksonville.
Hence the
Florida.
Navy hat.
Oh, okay, cool.
NAS Jacks.
Oh, that's awesome. Huh. If he's been doing it for, let's see, 5 years or so, I might have seen him. I may have met him there because the Jacksonville pilots, they come to Tallahassee all the time to fuel up.
Yeah. Well, he's bounced his tires over there quite often.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, that's really
So
neat.
so here's what happens, right? We've told the story. We get into Denver, hour late. They'd canceled all these flights, so by the time they could fly again, all the flights that have been delayed 1, 3, 4, 5 hours are now landing in Denver at the same time. So they're
Nice.
taking everybody to the budget airport, a budget, rental car. It gets late, and we're like, we cannot stay here in this line. We'll be here all day. So we end up getting an Uber. Meet a guy named Luis. Luis is driving the Uber, and we're just talking, just small talk. And so, where are you from? And all this stuff. He says from Brazil and Colombia. But he's came to America. He has a degree in architecture. His brother's a chemical engineer. And I'm like, architecture? And he just said he just got tired of working for everybody else. He got tired of, just sitting at a desk all day and not calling his own shots. And so he started driving Uber. He says, I make more money doing Uber, and I can make my own schedule. And not that this is the end job for him, but I'm seeing this so much from people that they're just tired of it. Like this grind, and like life is short. And am I going to regret something? What has moving out here, even in the 12, 15, 18 months you've been here, like done, you think, from you on like a spiritual level or a
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm a lot happier. And I guess what I mean by that, because happiness is hard to define, I guess what I mean by it is I don't care as much. And not in a, oh, whatever,
Right.
Not in a dejection at all, but just in a, things are okay.
Yeah.
Things are okay,
You're
Things could
happy.
be worse. Yeah, that's what it is to me. It's
That's
just,
it.
it's all right. So sure, bad things happen. Sure, sad stuff happens. But I don't have to dwell on that. I can use that to improve myself. And so that's really what this has been. This whole journey has just been, what do I want to make myself into? We have the opportunity as individuals and as men and as women to form ourselves, to really, we're born, we're just kind of clay. You can shape yourself into the statue. Sure, society and family and friends, they're going to have an impact too. But at your core, that's you. And so that's really why, I wanted to come out here, why I love it so much, why it's been so good for me, is that it hasn't been easy. I don't know anybody out here.
Right.
I've had to make friends and I've had to lose friends or thought I made friends. And, I've had crazy experiences. Stuff that I don't even know if I can say on the podcast because it's out west and it's still wild.
Really?
But what it's done for me is instill this confidence in me and this just kind of easygoing nonchalance. I'm going to have a good life. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to care about the people I care about. And I don't know. It's kind of simple.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's simplified things for me, I think.
Yeah.
Sure has.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Jim, pleasure.
Tate's going to bed.
I'm getting tired, and I'm no friend, so
And I stole your seat.
I won the room. Nice to see you, and you done an excellent job for the interview.
Hey, thank you.
And
Well-
especially the bartender.
Appreciate that.
That was as good of a bartender as I've ever had. I think.
Really? Oh, hold on to that, Jim.
I
Thank you very
agree.
much.
Yep,
It means a
good
lot
job.
to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
man.
That I've had a lot.
Hey, thanks for my water.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Hey, birthday boy, we're still on a podcast here. We're still live.
I better hush you.
Have a good night. I'll come tuck you in later.
Yeah, Taylor, in talking with you, it's pretty indicative that you're beyond 25 years old.
Yeah. My body may
Quite a
have
bit.
rotated around, revolved around
Quite
the
a bit
sun
further
25
than
times,
25
but
years.
I've been around. I've been around a lot
I can
longer,
see
I
that.
think.
You handle yourself well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
It's very-
you've added to our experience here. I mean, just coming here and seeing you guys. As soon as we walk in, like we don't know anybody, right? We coming through the boys, plural, and it's like, all right. All I know is I booked this place, and they seem nice. I don't know anything. I didn't even really look at reviews too much. I'm like, whatever. We don't even care. Just put our head down for a night. And you guys are so nice and friendly in here. And you got a restaurant
That's
and all this
great.
cool, and your personality makes it. Like totally could walk in here and had the opposite experience if people were not nice. Like yeah, right there. Go. I was like, okay, well, let's get in and out of this place. And you guys just made it so cool and like awesome for us.
Yeah, I think what it is for me is I just always try and it's just within me now. Now it's innate at this point. It's just kind of the golden rule, think of yourself in other people's shoes. Put yourself there. If I was coming to Du Bois, I'd never been here, and I'm going to a lodge, and I step in, and I'm kind of, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
If I meet a smiling face, that's what I want, right?
Right.
A friendly, someone maybe to crack a joke or something.
That's right.
So I don't know, it's what I would want, and it just feels natural to me. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of days where I'm tired, and
Yeah.
I'd probably just want to sit around and complain or sleep away the day,
Yeah.
sleep or drink away the day.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, I guess a while ago, I decided that's not how I want to be. I want to be active and I want to have that impact in people. There's
Yeah.
nothing more valuable to me. I came from corporate making good money. I don't make good money anymore, but that's okay. I changed my bills and now I have valuable experiences. You saying that, Jim saying, I'm the finest, highest echelon of bartender you've seen. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to be thinking about that as I'm going to sleep tonight,
And that's a guy who would know. I mean, and not
That's
in a
good
bad way. He just enjoys.
Yeah.
He enjoys himself, and he's great and
Well, he
classy. and-
recognizes good service,
yeah,
Well,
there you
yeah.
go.
and service is a thing of the past.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is.
Unfortunately.
And yeah, it really is a shame. Going back a little to what you
Yeah.
were saying about it was a Luis.
Yes.
Your
Yeah,
your Uber
yep.
driver. So yeah, I think we're seeing that more and more. I know you don't like to read, but there's an author named Ayn Rand.
Okay.
And she's a little controversial. I'm not exactly sure why, but I actually graduated from Florida State with a philosophy degree.
Oh, okay.
She's a philosopher. I love this, just these topics. And she wrote a book called Atlas Shrugged, really famous book.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, very famous book. And the whole principle is that the titans of industry, they're leaving. They're getting out of Dodge. They're just disappearing. People aren't sure where they're going. They're just going away. People like Luis, people who are architects and have skills, they're just going into the, they're flipping burgers and they're taxiing people around, just driving. These people who are geniuses in their own right, who could provide for society and really build something up, they're sick and tired of working for other people.
Yeah.
It's what Luis was saying. If he was building homes for himself and for his family and
Might be
things,
different.
he'd be doing it still, right?
So Luis shared with me that his brother, who's a chemical engineer, and I have so much respect for people who not only have education at that level, not that you have to be a college grad, but when you come from a different country and do it, and then and then
it's a different walk.
Yeah, it is, and then you're successful. Said his brother called him last week and said to him, "Remember we talked about growing old and selling beer on the beach one day?" And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "What do you think we take some of that money we put away and we move down to Miami and let's go sell some beer?" So both of them, same kind of mindset. Like, what am I doing every day and what's important to me? Like me personally, it's my girls, it's my wife, it's my family, it's my friends that I'm here with. And it's like, do I have work to be done? I got a lot of work to do right now, but I also want to enjoy these experiences more and more. This is my third time out west this year, and I have never been out west before this year. So I'm trying to just do as much as I can and see and enjoy, and then experiences is the word you used earlier. It's perfect. I don't know. It's just.
Can we speak on since you brought it up,
Don't be so formal.
our pizza endeavor?
Pizza. That's Little Caesars.
pizza.
Pizza.
Well, we live in
Copyright
Florida.
strike.
Yeah. We're in trouble.
We have the Atlantic Ocean on the east. We have the
Oh,
Gulf of
yeah,
Mexico
yeah.
on the west.
Sure.
And we have several rivers.
This wasn't my idea.
traverse.
This was not my idea. This is my brother-in-law and sister's idea that you're giving out.
Well,
But go
tell them
ahead.
thank you.
Okay. I will.
Accredited.
Yeah, exactly. I did.
Right. This is Phil and
Layla.
Layla. They went to Europe and they got on a boat. And while they were on the boat, another boat approached them selling pizzas. And they make $3,000 a week.
$3,000 a week,
What?
and they just cook pizzas on the boat and go to people's different boats, and you can order it, and they'll come to
So-
you.
That's awesome.
So, pontoon boat, 2 pizza ovens, 3 or 4 coolers of your choice.
It's a good time.
C'est la vie.
It's a good time. Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah. Living it up, making money, enjoying it, though, and meeting people, too, who are having fun.
So what's interesting about that is some of the folks who are wise that are older will say, "Life is short." Right? Life is short. Life is short. Right? Hear me out. Follow me out. And then a lot of those folks who are older have worked really hard over their lives, and it's kind of like, well, suck it up, work hard. I worked long hours. Well, if I take your advice on life is short, that's what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're seeing. Sort of this new generation is saying life is short, and there are people who are just lazy, but there are some people who are like, I'll work hard, but at what point do I feel like I'm working for everybody else out there and not for myself? I'm not.
That's the whole thing.
And I own my own business, right? And you've owned your own business, and but even there, we're in that daily grind and push just to pay the bills and just to get through. And then I want more and more and more. And why is this not enough? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this beautiful,
This is enough.
right? I'm happy.
Well,
This
the
is
corporate
plenty.
world dictates that we must improve on an annual basis.
Yeah,
That's right.
GDP
That's
That's,
right.
when,
gotta-
that's where
That's
we're,
right. That's right.
we're recorded and looked at on an annual basis. And we should be entrepreneurial enough
Right.
to increase our income on an annual basis, barring the real estate business. We're both realtors. This is Ben is our broker.
Right.
And things beyond our control happen that diminish our market. So we have to look elsewhere. Pizza on the boat. Really sounds
I mean, you're right. Right. Interest rates go up. You don't sell as much. Less people are on the market. Less people can I mean, just even the Fed doing what they're doing right now. And so what we're going to do on one of our future podcasts here in the next week is Papi is a retired union auto worker negotiator. So he negotiated in the unions. That's what he did for 30, 40 years. Wow. And so right now the UAW is about to go on strike. At least they're talking about it. Huh. And one of the things they're talking about is the workers are saying we want guaranteed 30% increase in pay over the next 3 to 4 years, and we want to work 8 hours a day. We want to do 32 hours a week. Wow. So whatever that works out to be and how they work it out, but that's what they want. So it's like work less, make more, which ultimately, and I'm not going to try to get into economics and get boring here, but it really, I think, ends up being, pay a lot more for a vehicle. Right?
Well,
and that's what it has to.
It's going to trickle down.
It has to.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So, but I can really appreciate this experience. I'll remember this moment the rest of my life, just being in this, because I didn't expect it, to be honest with you. I did not, like, first night, like, we had this equipment. I knew we were going into Cody and probably going to try to do something there. And it's like, we show up here and it's like, this place is just gorgeous. And then you guys are friendly. And I'm like, can I set this stuff up? And he's like, sure, good with us. And that probably speaks to sort of how a lot of people are here. They're just kind of friendly and just nice folks. Do you have any stories, like anybody that's like took you under their wing? Like you showed up and it's like, this person here has like become my buddy, or they made it worth it, or they're something like that.
So I got a buddy who, this hat is actually from him. He gave it to me for free. He had me try it on and he said, shoot. I said, what? He was mad. He's like, you look better in it than me. And so he gave it to me. He gave it to me.
It's a good-looking lid.
I thank you. And he's a true cowboy. It's shaped from the rain because he's been rained on so much out on the trails. And he's a good guy. He does endurance horse racing and everything. He gave me this knife, too, also for free. I asked him how much he wanted for it. He said, no, I just don't want to return it. I ordered it, and it was bigger than I thought. So a nice Damascus steel blade, full tang. So he gave me that, and then... let's see. So he and I actually worked on the ranch together, and he parted ways. He was still in town, so he was hanging around. Well, it was before I'd bought my truck. I came up here from Florida, right, and I was going to offices, so I'd gotten myself a Volkswagen Jetta, great gas mileage. Well, I like to off-road, and last summer it was great. Sure. I was going around the Grovant, and I did fine. I was invincible. Well, I wasn't invincible this summer. I went out first time I did in the spring, and I bottomed my oil pan off my Jetta, and I got stuck up clearing the mountain. I had my little dachshund with me, my schnitzel, and I was dumb. I was just going up real quick to check it out. Didn't think it'd be a bad road. Well, it was rough. It was too rough for my Jetta, and I couldn't get out. I got to where I was going, but I couldn't get out. Wow. And so I had to climb up the mountain till I could get a bar service, and I call him, and I say, hey, I'm stuck. I really hope you're not on a date or anything, and I'm not interrupting you with the girl or something. He said, oh, no, I'm just finishing up work, and he was right nearby, so he finished up at the fields, and then he came and he rescued me off the mountain, Schnitzel and I. He got us in the truck, pulled us out, had to get it towed off the mountain. My car slept there a couple nights, but, he had just quit, right? And I had sent him a message. I said, hey, man, I hope everything is going well. Let me know if you need anything, if you need money, whatever. Well, he hadn't responded. He's just that kind of guy. He gives things out. He's not a taker.
Yep.
Well, so then I tell him, hey, I really appreciate you picking me up, saving me. And he goes, oh, it's all good. Just buy me a beer tonight. So, I'm going to buy you a whole bottle, not just one drink, a whole case, whatever you want. And he says, oh, that's great because I am flat broke right now. I'm like, man, why didn't you tell me? I sent you you saw my message, right? He's like, yeah, I know, but were you serious? Yeah. What do you need? And he's like, oh, $1,000 would be awesome. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Gotcha. Well, I slipped $1,000 into his glove box that night.
Wow,
it's not everybody who's going to pick you up off a mountain in a moment's notice, who's going to give you free things and not ask for anything back. And I told him, I said, this is not a loan. This is not, I'm going to come knocking at your door in a month and say, hey, $1,200, where is it? Come on, interest, right? No interest. If you don't even pay me back, it's okay. I'm just glad that it's with you. You needed it, got you at a tough spot. If it comes back around, it comes back around. Otherwise, that is a very valuable $1,000 that I just spent. To a good friend.
Wow.
So yeah, he's got me out of got me out of some stuff.
And you got him out of some stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was able to help. It was crazy too, what I was saying earlier about the just not caring so much. I get stuck on the mountain and I'm laughing. I'm laughing about it up there.
Yeah.
Wishing I'm like, shoot, I might have to hike clear to the highway and it's bear country, but we're gonna make it, if I have to. And no, sure enough, my buddy's able to rescue me, and then I'm real glad that it happened because I was able to help him out. I wouldn't have been able to help him out. He would not have taken it otherwise, or I wouldn't have even known. He wouldn't have told me he was in a bind. He was fishing for food, literally for meals. He did not have food. He was fishing to suffice, and So I got him through. He'd got another job right away,
Sure.
but it was going to be another 2 weeks.
No, it's still
before his
difficult.
pay came
Times
in.
are tough right
Right,
now.
so-
Times are tough.
Yeah.
And that's,
But hey, I had a little extra cash, and
that's nice.
he could use it. So
And it comes back.
yeah.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
wow, thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah,
Man.
absolutely.
good stuff.
I'm happy I can give him credit.
Yeah.
Denver, thank you.
That's
We have
cool.
a man of character here, Ben.
I know that.
Yeah.
We knew that probably from the beginning.
Yes,
'cause,
we did.
I feel like people's spirits, auras, and things, you can kind of feel who are good people and who's not. And it's like the dog, right, who walks up and starts barking at someone's like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Don't bark at me. I'm actually a good person. But no, it's like can sniff them out. So, well, thank you. Thank you for your time. This podcast has been awesome, man. Getting out here in Wyoming, and we're headed out tomorrow. We're going through Jackson Hole, then up that little road you told us about in
Oh,
Yellowstone,
it's
and
gonna be beautiful up through Moose Junction.
that's it.
It'll
That's
be
it.
nice. Oh, yeah.
Cody, then Buffalo, then Deadwood, and back down to Denver next Friday. 1 a.m. we fly out of Red Eye back to Florida.
Man,
So-
boy.
oh, we're
we got
ready.
a lot in there, but it's gonna be great.
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
we
time.
did.
Yes, it
We
is.
did.
Gonna
So
enjoy it.
thank you.
Well, this was a pleasure. I'm certainly subscribing.
Oh, I appreciate that. I
Absolutely.
appreciate
My
that.
pleasure.
Man, it was so much fun. Randy,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
And,
Tell Jim again I say bye.
Yeah, and we're gonna have people hit you up, Taylor. I'm gonna put your information on
sure.
on our description and stuff out here. And
absolutely.
like if you want the experience, and this is where I'll end it. When you want the experience, like when we walked up, you're like, man, this is awesome. We didn't want the 5-star Hilton,
Right.
right? I wanted to be in a wagon. What do you call them, a Conestoga or something like
Oh,
that.
sure.
But it's difficult when you have someone who needs to use the restroom and whatnot. So we got pretty good accommodations. But nonetheless, this is sweet, and we thank you so much.
Oh,
All
it's
right,
been my
guys.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Ben.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Randy.
Thanks again, man.
That does it,
Absolutely.
Randy. That does it.